Hey everyone, it's Steven with Electrek, and today we're in the Pyrenees here in Spain, and we're going to be test riding, demo riding for a few days the Stark Varg EX. Recently, the up-and-coming electric motorcycle manufacturer Stark Future invited us to the mountains of Spain to get hands-on with the Stark Varg EX, a fully electric street-legal enduro selling in the US for $12,990 for the 60 horsepower configuration and $13,990 for the insane 80 horsepower configuration. After 2 days on trail, my biggest surprise was just how approachable and easy to ride the EX turned out to be for such a high performance machine. It's still far from being optimal as a commuter bike, but then again, that's not quite what the EX is for. In 2023, Stark Future began shipping its off-road MX dirt bikes, which quickly established the company as a serious competitor to gas motocross brands. Now, with a lot of trails around the world becoming more regulated, the natural progression for the company came in the form of the street legal EX. The EX comes with a slightly bigger 7.2 kilowatt hour battery compared to the 6.5 kilowatt hour battery on the MX, but overall this is still much more of a hardcore enduro motorcycle than something you would use for long commutes. For those looking to convert one of these into a supermoto for around town riding, the battery is more than sufficient. However, for those looking to commute to off-road trails that require traveling via highway, the range is not quite there yet, and unfortunately there is no portable charger that you can easily take with you. It's simply not where this bike shines. Where it really shines is performance. Despite the backlash from the Motocross Federation and regulators who make it very difficult for electric dirt bikes to compete in races, Stark Future has put a lot of effort into building a serious race team. The bikes themselves are very much performance oriented, coming stock with a max power of 80 horsepower, insane torque, and KYB suspension front and rear. Another tell sign is the stiff seat, which lets you know right away that this is much more of an enduro bike than something made for commuting. In addition, Stark Future wanted to prioritize saving weight and staying competitive on the racetrack over long range and comfort. As a result, the bike handles much more like a large mountain bike that somehow has just enough weight to track well on rocky terrain. Overall, the bike handles incredibly well, has great weight distribution and size, and is no surprise that aside from a few tweaks to the power delivery, the EX that comes stock to customers is essentially the same bike that is being brought to the racetrack to compete on world stages. As for the tech, in the center of the handlebars comes a smartphone, which is where you can set custom power modes, adjust regenerative braking, and even fine-tune power delivery. Out of the 80 horsepower, you can set the power to as low as 10 horsepower, which combined with its 264 pound weight, makes it easy to hand this thing off to a complete beginner without having to worry about them getting themselves hurt too badly. Once you have a few power modes saved, you can toggle between them pretty easily with the buttons on the handlebar, although it does take a minute to get used to, but that's because there are a few other modes you can cycle through with these two buttons. Stark Future added a few modes to make enduro a bit easier. If you're familiar with walk mode on electric mountain bikes, crawl mode is essentially the same except with some pretty strong torque. It's super useful for walking the bike up steep dirt hill climbs. It keeps the wheels from spinning out, yet has enough torque to make progress going up. There's also reverse mode for backing up, and altogether it made learning enduro a lot more fun. Aside from power modes, the smartphone on the bike also works for navigation, as well as any app you would normally have on a smartphone. Overall, one of the most appealing aspects about this bike is just how much performance you get for such an approachable bike. I could easily set this bike to a lower power setting and pass it to a friend or family member who's a complete beginner for them to have a lot of fun, and at the same time you could pass this bike to a professional supercross rider for the next pro race. The $12,990 price tag isn't too bad for a performance enduro bike that you can ride with plates, but for those looking for a cool commuter bike, this might be a little bit overkill, unless you're serious about electric supermotos and want that higher level performance. As for Stark Future, they have a lot of momentum going and a strong team, but they also move like a startup, which means they are ambitious and move quickly, and certain departments such as support may not be as large as some of the bigger companies out there. That being said, they do have intentions to grow out their support team and build a distribution center in the US to cut down shipping times. As for their products, there's no official word on any specific models coming soon, but there does seem to be some interest in developing more street-oriented models. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to give us a like and subscribe.